Here I
Hello.
am.
Are you in
Hello, hi.
Küsnacht? Where are you
Well,
sitting?
no, I'm living the flexible life. I'm sitting in a camper van in the south of Spain, and I felt there is no better way to show how the new work lifestyle could look like.
Well, welcome to NOAH. You're with us. We are excited to get your presentation. Go for it.
Amazing, good. Let me quickly share my presentation. Make sure. Perfect. I think you should see my screen, and I'm very happy to be back at NOAH. I felt already a little bit of pain in 2020 to not be on stage. So really happy to see NOAH being in Zurich, in my home city. And on top of that, I'm really happy to be back as well with a very exciting story about Coople and how Coople made it through this special time. But let me quickly start with the content, as there are only a few minutes to go through all the different points. So basically, what is Coople? Coople is the job app to build a better life. So we have worked a lot on our technology, on our promise, on the customer journeys, and we really achieved a lot of different things, which we will have a look at in a few seconds. So first of all, what is the goal? What is the things we want to achieve on the customer side, on the worker side? So while most of you know the traditional way of working, a traditional way of living, where basically the job would take over the core of your time and dictate your daily experience, you basically want to have your life around that. So that's what's happening today. Work is the center of what you're doing, and you see your children at the weekends, if you have weekends, or you go and have sports in the evening. And we think that this is not the only way of living. We think that there must be a different way to do that. And that's why we thought about a centric model that is more around your life. So how could you fit work around your life and make this lifestyle possible too? This is happening today. This happened before, and it's rapidly expanding, especially due to COVID and home office experiences. People start to realize that their life might not be only working and being in a work environment. They want to see their children and play sports and do whatever they like to do, traveling like I'm doing right now. The same applies to companies, where nowadays a lot of unpredictability has come into the business. Long before the business was quite stable and predictable. So the mix of people you needed in your company changed a lot over the last few years, and especially in the last 2 years, where the permanent workforce was squeezed into a corner, and in most of the cases was forced to become more and more flexible. We have seen the rise of flexibility mainly in seasonal heights and downs, but we've seen the gig economy become more and more permanent, more and more part of everyday business, even in small, but as well in enterprise business. Hyper flexibility, which means people working just for a few hours, have become a permanent element of the workforce mix. And that's exactly where Coople was born, and developed his whole core and product stack into this very, very challenging niche of the market, which is short-term and short notice work. It's very challenging from two sides. First of all, it's challenging because the unit economics are really, really tough. That means you need to be able to recruit, to cover jobs, to send out contracts, to do all the legal compliance work, do the salary runs and so on, just for a few Swiss francs or a few dollars. And at the same time, you need to cover jobs just within minutes, or in some cases, you need to have people on site in hours, like a large retailer in Switzerland, which had to have access control due to COVID restrictions. Within 24 hours, they just needed a few thousand people at work. That's where Coople did develop his strength in this technology, and then now rapidly expanding into the more lucrative parts of the market with longer jobs and more lead time for our customers there too. So we positioned ourselves in a unique way by investing a lot in the last few years. So we are not only able to deliver on the emergency and small gigs like we did before. Today we are able to offer a wide variety of services and products to our customers. We are becoming more and more the Swiss Army knife for workforce management, which means that you can find people that work just a few hours tomorrow, but as well you can start to recruit on our system for long-term permanent roles, which could be a temp to perm approach or other models that we offer today. We have customers which already plan with us their expansion, which means the next 2-3 years, but others that just need to cover the absence that happened 5 minutes ago. And we do this as well across a lot of different skill levels. So from the novice side, where we bring students maybe to caterings and do some hosting jobs, up to the moment where we have very highly professional skilled people, especially now in healthcare, in vaccination, where we provide basically the whole vaccination center stuff, from entrance to build up and dismantling, basically to the doctors that take over the responsibility of the whole center. And the last part that you can see here is as well that we are currently working on the possibility on how we can use our tool in the same way for internal and external workforce, which means one stop for all your people, which means more efficient planning, which means less external staff costs, and at the end it means better coverage of the needs and more success for your company. This is all done through our scalable self-service marketplace, which not only is able to cater to enterprises, but now with the full automation and the possibility to self-service as well is pretty much used by SMEs in our core markets nowadays. So this is how the flywheel starts to spin, and we invested a lot there as well in order to make this model an automated model, to make it a marketplace model rather than a digital agency and the process support model. And I don't think I need to go into details on how the network effects could come into play. I will show you some of our numbers and graphs, which obviously will show you how the network effects come into play into numbers. This graph basically shows what our customers do while using our services. They increase their outputs in peak times, and we have seen some food delivery companies or retailers having huge peaks, especially now during COVID, and having a hard time to cope with services and quality there. And at the same time, we've seen other customers which had to basically close down the business from within 24 hours. So that's where you could basically connect the output with the input, depending on what is happening in your market right now. Well, it's a huge market, and I think it's still growing, and there is a large demand for flexible work, which is driven by temporary agencies. It's mostly traditional agencies that share the 415, which is I think now already at 450 billion temporary agency market. And there is a huge part as well of non-agency internal markets where flexibility is being solved through short-term work or freelancers or different other parts of the market. So just a huge market where we are just getting started, and things can be disrupted in a very interesting way. As you can see here, COVID obviously hit us a little bit by being focused on industries which have been shut down for a while in some of the countries. But the rebound has been just really stellar. We have seen an incredible increase in demand. We have seen an high adoption in technology in our sector. And this is despite the fact that few of the sectors we are still in are still impacted by COVID, have partial lockdowns, are not on full capacity. So we foresee a really strong growth for the next few years, despite the COVID hit, or especially because COVID accelerated the adoption of the digital HR world. This doesn't need to come at cost of unit economics. So we have improved unit economics during that time as well, which is highly appreciated, obviously, in terms of reinvesting our capital and our cash flow into making the product even more automated and better. So you can see here that some of our entities are already cash flow positive and plan to become hugely positive in the coming years so that they can support our expansion for the future. Wonderful. Well, I want to close the session with a very quick story about what makes me proud as a founder. It's not about numbers, it's not about funding, it's not about having great stories about how money is made in the company. It's about changing lives of our Cooplers, which are our workers. So one of our workers was impacted by COVID and lost his job while being a manager in hospitality, and was able to find another job in a food delivery company through our app. He then made good money out of that, which allowed him to cover the expenses of his wedding and don't live in anxiety and really lift the gap between hospitality being closed in the UK. And now at the end, we brought him back into hospitality, being back in a senior manager role in a Michelin star restaurant in London, which is the perfect way on how we not only make our workers happy, but as well create a new customer experience and have a new customer in the center of London. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm really happy to connect with you guys through chat, through LinkedIn, through the great tool that is provided by NOAH. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.